Hey, so today, a little nervous about this, but I'm gonna attempt to move her. Not far, because she doesn't have the radiator. Well, she didn't have the belts or the alternators, what I'm trying to say. So it's, the water pump's not running, so I don't want to run it too long. And yeah, and I'm not really sure about the transmission. It's got like 9-10 quarts in it. I think it takes a lot more than that though. So we're gonna see if she'll move. Hopefully she does. Fingers crossed, guys. Okay, she did not stay running when I put her in gear though. Okay, she is not staying running whenever I put her in gear though. So, and she's idling really high. Really high. So, don't think she's moving just yet. I think I need to get my scanner back out here and take a look and see what's going on. Okay, so I think I figured out what my issue was. Well, I believe I know what it is. I have no power going to my brake switch. I never wired it up though, so it's not like, it's like some mystery. I just never wired it up. And so it doesn't have the 12 volts that it needs to send to the PCM to let it know that, hey, I'm pressing the brake. Because it has basically the way my brake pedal is, if you remember that video, it has two connection points up front and two connection points up back. The two connection points up front, I believe, are normally open, and then the ones in the back are normally closed. And so, but it needs power though to send the voltage, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find that wire. It's an orange wire, I do believe, that is on there that I need to attach. And so I'll attach so I'll attach that orange wire to a fused switched power, and yeah, we're gonna go from there. Okay, so I spent the rest of the day yesterday kind of going through trying to just figure out why it was dying whenever I put it in gear. So what I figured out, remember I was talking about the TCC, the brake switch wire. Well, let me show you what I found out. So I put power to the switch, and even after putting power to the switch, I was not getting anything coming out these back terminals here. And I was supposed to be getting some voltage coming out of there, going out every time I would, press in the brake. But it wasn't doing it. I ended up finding that so there's on the front terminals here, if you can see it. Let's see here, let me get you a better view. So there's a orange and a white. So I ended up tapping into that white one there, and now whenever I hit the brake, it actually does what it's supposed to do. So I'll show you right now what I ended up having to do. That way, just in case you're having issues and it's not, maybe you don't have a 4-post brake switch and don't want to get one, or maybe you have one and it's just not working. That was my case. So let me show you what I ended up doing. Okay, so this is the relay right here. This is just, I'm gonna get one of those sockets and everything, but for right now, this was just so I could see what was going on. So you got your black wire here, which is a ground wire, which is going to be on, I don't remember these by heart, so I apologize, which is 86? Yeah, 86. So ground is on 86. And then this purple wire is actually the wire that comes from your computer, your PCM. So this is your actual TCC wire for that. And then let's see here, the middle wire is 87A, and that one actually runs to a switched power. You're gonna want to fuse it, obviously. I put mine on like a 20 amp fuse, I believe. No, I put it on I don't remember what I put it on, honestly. It might be like a 10 amp fuse. But it's just, I fused it, and then I ran the wire over here That way it has the switched, it has to be switched with the key, not just a constant, okay? And then this one right here, let's see, that's 85. Yeah, 85 was actually the wire that I tapped into the brakes. So basically, maybe you don't have a white wire or not, but the 86 is going to tie into wherever your output is. You know, whenever you press the brake in, it sends voltage out to the brake lights. That's the wire you want to tap to. So whatever color it is, you know, maybe you gotta just hit there and hit the brakes and see what wire actually, you know, has 12 volt whenever you press the brakes. Sorry, phone call. Dang spam. So back to what we were before we were rudely interrupted by a spam. Yeah, so I was showing you this right here. Basically I just got done telling you that, you know, where 85 actually ties in at. 85 ties into your brake light output. Let's see, so one other thing I did was, it was up front though. Let me turn off my meter here. I was testing some stuff. I had a fuse blow. Might be too small. Might have to put it on like a 15. But let's check out what else I did here. So these right here are actually, you know, temporary. I'm gonna get sockets for them. I'll tie into these into that. But for right now, these are my fan relays. So this it's not complicated, and I got all my info from lt1swap.com. so if me explaining it isn't good enough, maybe going and checking out his website may help you out a little bit better. All right, so like I said, I don't remember these, so I have to look, but let's see, so 85, yeah, so it looks like 85, that is where your ground coming from your computer is going to tie in at. And let's see here, I got it taped up. So 86 is actually going to be a it is also going to be a constant power, but that constant power, it needs to be fused at 3 amps. Okay, that's just one of them. And then you have another constant hot, which is let's see, I believe it's this red wire, and no, it's the other red wire. It is 87, and 87. Okay, so your other power wire that you're actually gonna be running is another constant hot. Now this one will be fused at 20 amps, but and you also want to make sure you run 12 gauge on the on 30 and on 87. So 30 is gonna be another constant hot fused at 20 amp, and then 87 is actually going to be your power for your fan. So you'll run this one out going to your fan. Now if you were, say, doing dual speed or something like that, then that's like a whole nother deal. But you still would use 2 relays, but you would have 2 wires coming off of 87, and they would go to, like, say, the low speed on both fans, on either fan. You know, one wire will go to one low speed and one will go to the other fan for low speed. And then on the other relay you would have 2 wires coming off of 87 again, but they would both go to your highs. So hopefully that makes sense. Everything else would be the same, except coming off of 87 you would have 2 wires instead of just the one. Now I'm gonna have 2 fans. They're not going to be any dual speed, anything like that. It's going to be one single speed. So this right here, I just have 1 wire going to my fans, and then I will ground out the fans from the ground wire on the fans themselves. So hopefully that makes sense to you. My fans aren't there, so I can't show you them being plumbed in. All right, let's attempt to back her up. Damn. Something ain't just right yet, but I moved her. Something just isn't quite just 100% just yet. But I moved her. Fucking moved her. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh, I don't know why I won't get from this point, but yeah, still fucking moved though. Oh man. So, oh man, she looks good on the ground, dude. Oh man, she looks so good on the ground. Man, now I just gotta get her to stay running enough to back her up like that. I'm not exactly sure what that probably has a lot to do with my tuning. I mean, I'm no Jeremy from Faster Proms or Brent or anything, or so yeah. I'm still learning, but I'm getting there. So okay, so I hooked up my computer and everything, and one thing I noticed is that my throttle position sensor doesn't even show up on the tuner. So it's either this, which I assume it more than likely is my throttle position sensor, because as you can see, this came with my my massive cheap Chinese throttle body. So this is also a massive cheap throttle position sensor, and so is my IAC, my intake air controller, or my intake air valve, whatever you want to call it. So I'm probably going to try and get a new one of these and the intake air valve, because, or the idle air valve, whatever it is. I think it's actually idle air valve, because they were both cheap. I just don't trust either one of them, and intermittently I've been having these like really high idles, and then like sometimes it starts up and sounds like it's supposed to, like normal, and there's no vacuum leaks or anything like that. So, and what a lot of people say is that you know, like a worn or cheap or crappy, you know, IAC will actually cause that issue, and so will a throttle position sensor, a bad throttle position sensor. This one doesn't even register. So we're gonna go ahead and start there. I mean, I took it apart and it looks cheap on the inside. Like, I don't know how this thing works. So I'm gonna go to the junkyard and just get me some used ones at first, and then I'll probably get me some new ones at some point. But yeah, gonna have to get some used ones at first though, so I'm gonna go check that out. Okay, so I got it reading now. So let's go check this out. Let me go and get this going for you so you can see. Okay, so what we're looking at now is basically my throttle position sensor right here, and it's saying 0.41. So let's see if we can change the way that is. So all I gotta do, let's see what happens, because it has a little bit of play in the screws here on this throttle position sensor. So let's loosen it just a touch, and wonder if that changes anything as far as the values, because it was at 0.41. So and now it's at 0.51. So they say you want it basically at like 0.5. So I'm gonna just, let me see something here. So I'm gonna, let's see, so I'm gonna go like right there, and let's tighten it down. And let's go see what we're sitting at. It doesn't have to be precisely 0.5. I want it roughly 0.45. It's more than what it was, so that's a good thing. So yeah, yeah, I think that's really gonna be it, thankfully. I could see that my temp is working. That's good. And so let me show you one other thing that I did to allow me to see that, because it wasn't that the throttle position sensor was bad, it was that I didn't select the channel. Okay, so she's still not, like, she idles, I put her in gear and everything like that, she stays running, but as soon as I try to put any load on her, she ends up dying. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but I've crunked her too many times to, you know, without any actual water flow and nothing to cool it down. I don't want to ruin the engine before I actually get a chance. So I'm gonna look into that some more. I've done some logs on it, seeing what's going on, and I'm not really getting any info from it as far as what the issue is. My air fuel ratio is still showing like 14.6. So I'm not really sure, unless maybe it has something to do with my transmission. You know, I did rebuild it, so anything's possible. Maybe I need to check the fluid one more time, because I have put it through gear a couple times. Maybe it's drained a little bit now, and maybe it's filling it up, and I don't know. I mean, it feels like it wants to move, but it's just like the engine ends up stalling out. So maybe I'm also noticing that my injector flow rate's actually like showing like 69 gallons per minute. So I might try and bumping it back down to that 42. Maybe I fixed something else that was an issue then. So I'm gonna put the 42-pound injector data back in, and then yeah, tomorrow I'll try it again, see if we can't square this down, and yeah, it's a thing now.